Hello, and welcome to the Frivolous and Frugal Knitting Podcast. We are two sisters who share our fondness for knitting, the things that we create, and the love we have for the knitting community. And we do it all with the little twist of both the frivolous and the frugal. I am Frivolous Dawn, and in our family's birth order, I am the fourth of 8 children.
You are. And hello, I'm Frugal Miss Penny, and in our birth order, I am the eldest. We are so excited for our returning viewers. Hello, and welcome to episode 70. We're so glad you came back, and we're hoping that you will glean a nugget or two from our fondness for both the frivolous and frugal fibers. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, we're so glad you found us. Hang in there. The first part's always a bit rough, but it smooths out as we go, typically. And we're hoping that you will glean something from our musings as well. So without further ado, would you please grab your knitting, your favorite note-taking device, and a sense of humor for episode 70 of the Frivolous and Frugal podcast. Take it away, Dawn.
All right, let's start with what we're wearing. And you know what I can say, because our viewers don't know, what were you wearing when we started?
You are so right. For reasons that I've explained numerous times ad nauseum, it is just too warm for me to wear this morning. So I had on, and Dawn can give us much more information about this, I had Joji Locatelli's gold sand crescent long shawl, which is my go-to shawl for everyone. Not necessarily because of the yarn, but I like the style. And this one happens to be knit in KnitCircus Greatest of Ease base in the shades of gray. But I really like the length. It stays in place. It's the right size for something quick to throw on. A great beginning knitter project. It's knit on a size 6, so this base is fingering weight, and I did give it $5 signs for the fiber. It's very expensive, I think, and only $2 signs for the pattern. Miss Joji's patterns are always very reasonable. So that's what I was wearing. And so could you please share with everyone why this is important today?
Well, Joji Locatelli starts her fall knit along, I believe, around the 18th of September. All of her patterns right now are 20% off. So I just thought with that on the horizon, we would do Joji. Now, I don't know if I'm going to join that knit along because I don't know if there's enough room on the needles right now. I know. When does that ever stop me?
I'm going to say, Dawn, come on.
Oh, she put out a new ebook with 5 patterns in it. All right. And I do believe there was a double dog dare thrown the other night. Okay. So look at this. I feel like this is a very long cowl. So I have it double thick right now. This is the 3-color cashmere cowl. It is by Joji Locatelli. The only modification I made on this is it called for a US 2.5. And at the time I knit this, I didn't have that size. So I did knit it on a US 3. So it may have turned out just a little bit bigger. This was my first time I ever used Brooklyn Tweed yarn. It was their Peerie base. I think the gray, oh, you can't see the gray. The gray's on the inside is Henge. The white was colored Thaw. And I believe the black was, I forget.
Let me see. Oh, I don't have it on mine either, Dawn.
I printed the show notes before I added it. So we'll include it in our show notes. I like it. I think I could even triple it. If I just wanted the gray showing, you could easily do that. Now, for people who are relatively new knitters who would like a project in the round and you're ready for a little bit of a challenge, there's stockinette in here. There's simple striping and one simple little lace pattern. You could customize this shawl for as long or as short as you wanted. It's got a little bit of ribbing on the edge. So I just think it's a nice project for that. I probably gave the pattern a 2 if I had to guess, and probably a 3 for Brooklyn Tweed. I think the yarn is nice. I don't know if I would say it's drapey though. It's got a little bit of body to it. It's not itchy or anything. It's not toothy. I just thought it's a little, is stiff a word? For a knit?
Stiff, absolutely. It looks stiff from here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I tend to go drapey, so,
You do.
but my cowl infatuation continues.
Oh, I'm sure we're going to hear more about that soon.
Well, I've only had a 50-year infatuation with Tom Selleck, so I might as well have at least a few years of infatuation with cowls.
Oh, yes. So speaking of infatuations, I'm going to change the subject. You will see behind me that Opal is sporting a shawl that probably looks very similar if you've watched episode 69. It has something to do with what I'm learning. So I'll just introduce it to you and talk about what I learned later in the episode. This is a design from Miss Melanie Berg that we all enjoy. It is Quicksilver. I knit it with two different types of fingering weight. One was Heritage socks, one was Malabrigo sock. The Malabrigo is in the cream color, Heritage is in the brown and orange, knitted on a size 6, and on the Frugalometer, it earned $3 for the fiber and $2 for the pattern.
I've knit neither one of those that you are wearing today.
I cannot believe that.
I know, especially that crescent. I can't believe I've never knit that crescent.
I think this crescent is, to me, is like your hitchhiker to you.
Yeah. And I wonder if I have any slow moving gradient in my stash that would be great. Of course, and the fact that you did it in the grays just had me too.
Oh, yes. What about Ruby? What is she wearing?
Oh, this may be one of my favorites. I know I have too many favorites. This is Festival of Stitches by Lisa Hannes. Hannes. I don't know if it's Hannes, Haynes, Han. I don't. Anyway, it is a very long rectangle. It is like my colors. Look at that. Red,
It
black,
is.
white. It was a mystery knit along a couple of years ago. Now, I did not do it as the mystery knit along, but when I kept seeing people post these, I knew it was one of those things I had to do. The yarn is all Baah yarn, and in the La Jolla base, it's fingering weight. This is, the red is chocolate cherries, the white is La Perla, and the black is black pearl. It was an enjoyable knit, and you can probably tell here, is the word I'm looking for penny inverse? So
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They invert the black and white change positions left to right. And then you'll see this black cable or kind of waffle stitch is white on this side. And then the lace switches. So I just love it. Those are
I have to say it's one of my favorites of yours.
Yeah, they are my colors. Oh, so I wonder what colors I picked for the upcoming Stephen West knit along. Maybe similar. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, please don't surprise us.
Well, at least the first kit I bought is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the confessions will continue, by the way.
Oh man, does that bring back some memories of our youth? Okay.
So Dawn,
what's on my needles? Oh, okay. I am hold on, 3 stitches from the end.
Oh, are you? Okay, we don't want you to drop those because that created a little bit of a kerfuffle last time.
So speaking of dear Stephen West, I am doing a shawl of his that I hope to get finished before his knit along. I think that may be wishful thinking. I'll show you a picture of it. It's called Quadrangle Spires.
Oh, yes.
Is that not just amazing?
It is.
Now, just so you know how it gets the term quadrangle, that is how the shawl starts. So this is where we start, and this is the part I'm doing now. So,
wow.
paid for pattern by Stephen West. Looky.
Oh, look at you.
So this light purple was the first part of the quadrangle. It's a gradient yarn that I'm using. I will see if I can. It's Stone Barn Fibers, Gypsy Girl Creations Transition in the Calypso colorway. It's 150 gram skein. So I got 2 of them. I bought it at Elgin Knitworks. It is, I don't believe she's dyeing anymore is what Betsy told me. But so I started with the lighter purple, now moving into the darker purples. And I just started the third section of the quadrangle. The gray that you're seeing is Heritage Sock, and it is in the forged iron colorway. And let me show you my gradient cake.
Ooh.
So it's gonna stay dark for a while in the purple.
It is.
I kind of think there's a little bit of gray in here. If that's the case, when I get to the gray, I may just go past it because it would be gray on gray.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't be able to see the mosaic pattern. So a long rectangle, I'm really in the beginning stages. To think I'll have it done in a month is probably way wishful thinking. Paid for pattern, 2 on the frugalometer for me. The yarn, I think Heritage Sock is a very reasonable workhorse. That's probably a 2. Of course, these big gradients are a little more expensive, so it's 3 on the frugalometer for me. Knit on a US size 4. I am following the pattern as written, and I'm doing it kind of with Joanne from Magpie Cottage. She's using Connie, which is really slow gradients. She's using 2 different balls with totally different gradients. So we were comparing last night, and mine is smaller in size than hers, and mine's much more drapey because, as you know, Connie is definitely a more rustic yarn. But watch their podcast to see the progression for Joanne. She's farther ahead than me. So she is on her, she's just about ready to complete the quadrangle. So again, Quadrangle Spires by Stephen West.
Very pretty.
I'm liking it.
Good, good, good.
So what's on your needles?
Same thing that's been on my needles for the past 7 episodes. For those of you, oh, go ahead.
I'm gonna look surprised when you say.
Oh, it is the wrap Tenacity, and it is aptly named, although I'm truly enjoying it. It is by Cold Comfort Knits. I am knitting it in Valley's Fibers Charlemont base, little bit of silk in with the wool, and it's in the raspberry rose colorway, which you can all see. It's just a gorgeous pattern. And this is an anti-knit along. It was our New Year's Day cast on with Miss Brianna, who, by the way, is our niece. She is the daughter of number 7 in the birth order. And we cast it on, and I've been a monogamous knitter up until now. So I didn't pick it up until last month. So I am way behind Dawn and Brianna because they've been working on it for months, but I'm plugging away, and Dawn faithfully reminded to put my monthly marker in. And so, yeah, that's what I'm working on. And on the frugalometer, fiber gets, I believe I gave that $4 signs for me and $3 signs for the pattern.
And are you still enjoying the Prim needles?
I am.
Are you? Okay.
Oh, I think I may be drifting in that direction, because for me, and I have nothing other than anecdotal evidence for this. It is helping me knit looser because they're plastic. So I think on the Addies that I've used for nearly 20 years, it allows me to cinch my work a little bit tighter. So I knit tighter. I don't on these plastic needles.
Wow. And you might have said this and I wasn't paying attention.
I hope you weren't shopping online.
Not yet, but I was thinking about I should never look at Instagram before we start.
No, you shouldn't.
Are you on the second skein or third skein?
I'm on the third. Yeah. So I measured it. I think I don't have very much. I mean, it's here and here.
No, I'm on the third skein too. So I bet we're now pretty similar in length.
Yes. And I won't have a complete 5 skeins.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I'm only going to be knitting 4 and I think almost 2/3 of a skein.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And did you say you measured? Are you, because you've got to be past halfway?
Well, you know what? I think I measured, but I was sitting in my chair. It's only like 48 inches long.
Oh, well,
It's
50 halfway if you do it full.
I know. So it's not going to be the 100 that I want unless I block it out to be 100 inches.
Oh gosh, block like I do, and it'll be 240.
Yeah, really. It'll be the Raspberry Rose Road to my house. Yeah, I am not going to block. I don't plan on blocking it aggressively.
No, I
I
don't
will
even.
probably slosh it in the water and get it cleaned up because I've been carrying it around for so long, and then throw it on the mats.
Okay, and I'm frogging the last row I just did. So.
Oh, are you? Well, gee, if I was knitting something else, I would fill in right now. But since I'm not, that
One should
wait.
pay attention to color change, maybe. All right.
Well, if I'm reading, maybe you can do this while you're frogging.
No, I'm done.
Don't you have a little something coming off your sock machine?
I haven't talked about the sock machine for a while, and I just got back into cranking. So I have a circular sock machine. It's an Erlbacher Gearhart Speedster. I guess I've had it a few years now. So I just wanted to show some of the socks I've done recently. So here is a pair of socks that are Christmassy.
Yes, they are.
So this is a German yarn. I will include the link to it. Now for the sock machine, I buy my yarn on cones if possible. Cones just feed the yarn to the machine in a little bit more consistent manner, not required on a sock machine. I just find I have a lot less tension issues if I use a cone. So the cone I bought for this one is 500 grams. So I got 4 pair of socks out of that 500 grams. Now you would think I would get 5. Well, I hadn't cranked for a while, so I had a few mishaps. So there'll be some Christmas ornaments that come out of my mishaps. So of course, a self-striping yarn. I do, my machine has 64 slots on it. So think of that as 64 stitches for a sock. I use a ribber so I can get the ribbing pattern. So I just have a very standard pattern where I do 1x1 ribbing for the cuff. I go to a 3x1 for the leg. I actually do this heel right on the machine. This isn't created entirely on the machine. And then I just rib the top of the foot. The only thing I need to do at the end then is to close the toes. So 4 pair out of this Christmas, and I did all of these in women's sizes. But then I had some West Yorkshire spinner yarn. And look at these were, I thought, so cute.
Oh, those are cute, Dawn.
This is the smallest ladies size that I do, a size 6 or 7. Little Miss Brianna has small feet. So again, exact same pattern. Now, because you know how West Yorkshire spinner comes in a skein, I take the skein and move it to a cone and then knit off the cone. So a little futzy, but not bad. And then the last thing I wanted to show, because somebody asked me a question, what do the socks look like as they come off the machine?
Oh.
Here's an example. Now this sock is bigger. This is a men's sock. This is using Regia socks. So they look pretty skinny when they first come off. And so those will block nicely, but you use waste yarn to start and stop a sock. So when my sock is done, this orange here is waste yarn.
Okay.
So I will Kitchener the toe closed, and this waste yarn then gets pulled out. The toe on a sock machine is not closed at the end of the toe like you do when you're hand knitting socks. They close at the top of the foot. So
oh, interesting.
yeah, I don't know if I can show it maybe here a little bit better. You can see where it was a different color yarn.
Do you feel like it affects the way it feels when you wear it?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not everybody does the ribbing, but I always think if I'm giving these as gifts, I never know how tight or loose. I do have just a simple graph I follow, or a simple chart on how many rounds or cranks do I need to do for the foot of the sock for the various sizes. The men's sock, I think I only had 13 grams of yarn left from 100 gram skein. So that uses a lot more, but this is a men's size 12. Okay. And you'll see how that yarn pooled, didn't it?
It sure did.
Yeah. Now, I don't go matchy-matchy, as you can see. Some of my Christmas socks ended up matchy-matchy. West Yorkshire spinners ended up matchy-matchy, but for the most part, I just keep going off of the cone. And I just ordered some more cones. that are gradients, like one's all in the blue jean colors. So we'll see when those get here. My goal was 50 pair of crank socks this year. I'm not going to make it. I think this pair is 18. So there's no way I'll get to 50 by the end of the year. So maybe I should realistically change that to 25. That's doable, or 30.
Or
But
perhaps maybe fewer double dog dares and or KALS.
yeah, and I need to find an outlet for my socks, because I just keep accumulating them. I'll offer them to my students this year if they all want a pair, but last year only one took me up on that. So I don't know about this year's, but I enjoy cranking. I'd like to get better at it. They're doing lace patterns now. They do all kinds of other things in socks. But I think there's several of our viewers who have recently purchased circular sock machines. So, and maybe this next year I can actually get back to a crank in if they have those. So that's what is on the old Erlbacher Gearhart Speedster. And then the last thing I'll talk about, and this is weird because it's just starting, it's another year-long mystery knit along. I think I heard this from you, Ms. Penny.
Yes, you did.
It is called A Celtic Quilt 4. It's a mystery. It is by, would you say her name is Louise?
Louise O'Neill, I believe.
Yeah. You need to look on Ravelry at her last 3 years quilts. They are amazing cabled Afghans. It is knitted. It's a block a month for 9 months. And then there's several months that you will work on putting, I would say, a fairly extensive border on, I assume, based on the other ones. The blocks from this quilt are identical to the sizes of the last 3. So you can interchange or interplay. If you want a bigger one, you can do it. There's a couple of people doing it. So I'll start a discussion board if anybody wants to. I'm using Encore by Plymouth Yarn. Light gray and medium gray, I think, are the 2 colors. A very reasonable price. Oh, well, the price tag's right on them. I think I needed 12 skeins. So I bought 6 of each. I think I'm going to go a light one, a dark one, a light one, just kind of alternate that way and see if I like it. You use a US 7 or a US 8, and of course, cable needles. I'm going to try a couple of different cable needles throughout to see what I think. I've only barely started the first square, so this is kind of embarrassing to show you what little bit I've done.
Ooh, Dawn.
I do like a provisional cast on, as you can see. So there's the first cable.
I like that.
I like that. And then the middle one is just starting.
How fun.
I'm trying cabling without cable needles on the less complicated, smaller cables. I'll tell you, for mine, they are not nearly as clean. They don't. So I have issues with tension. I'm going to keep doing it. I got a year to practice. Right now I'm using the Coco Knits cable needle for this square. Next square, I'll try a different one. When I start the discussion board, we will put in there links to YouTubes that will help you fix cable mistakes. So Roxanne Richardson has quite a few. You can either drop down to fix a mistake, or she now has one that Jen was telling us about, that you can fix a cable using the duplicate stitch if you're well past it and it's not easy to drop down. And she did it, and when she showed it to us on Zoom, we couldn't tell. So,
wow.
Yeah. So that is a year long, and it started September 1st. I never know how to call these patterns on the Frugalometer. It's expensive when you first buy it, but I'm going to get 10 patterns out of it. So I'll probably call it a 2 on the Frugalometer for that reason. I think Plymouth Encore is a very reasonable workhorse yarn. And that is, I gave probably 2 on the Frugalometer as well. So lots of yarns to pick from that, right? You could go from acrylic to exquisite if you wanted to. You could change colors, you could do gradients. There's all kinds of examples on Ravelry to look at.
Dawn, how would you say the pattern is written?
Very well. It's written out in words as well as the chart. I need to get better at reading the chart, so I have both in front of me. So I can kind of read what it's telling me to do and then try to make sense of that on a chart. There's also great YouTubes on how to read lace chart patterns. Trying to think if there was anything else. I think I will have to just keep up. Each square, I think, has a fairly extensive border too. So I'm going to try to keep up. We'll see.
Very good.
Yeah, I'm not good at cables, so it'll be a good challenge for me. All right, is that all that's on my needles?
At least that's all that you're showing us. So that must mean that there are, oh, hang on. I thought I had another bubble.
Well, Tenacity is on my
needles.
What's a couple things? Tenacity is still on my needles.
Oh, okay.
I'll show that like whenever Miss Brianna's on.
Okay.
All right. I do have a couple of things off. Hold on.
Let's see.
Here is Susanna from Heather Booze.
Oh, Dawn.
Okay, this is a cowl, not a bathrobe. All right, so a few issues I had with this, and they're totally my issues. I am into mohair right now. So the pattern called for 2 fingering weight yarns, or actually 2 different contrasting minis is what they used. So, and 1 skein of fingering weight at 100 grams. I decided instead of a second, let's just do mohair, because why not? It's fluffier, it's bigger, it increased my length 3 inches.
Oh my goodness.
Let me put it on. I like it on, but I was like, it kept growing. I kept checking the pattern, thinking it was written wrong. It was not written wrong at all. These stripes are wider. They grew because of the mohair. So if I were to do it again, I'd hold 2 strands of mohair so that it became more like fingering, because I think mohair typically is more lace weight.
Yes.
So, yeah, I like it. Nice and light. The yarn is Direful yarns, and the dark blue is in the slasher base. And the mohair is actually Direful yarns as well in their mystic base. I bought both of these when we were at our mini meetup at Elgin Knitworks. Let me go back to get my needle sizes. Knit on a where am I at here? Knit on a US 4. I gave the pattern 2 on the Frugalometer and the yarn a 3. This was created specifically for Leading Men Fiber Arts. So you'll see quite a few when you go that using the Leading Men Fiber Arts. I like it. And again, I'm into cowls that just slip right over your head and stay in place.
Very nice.
And I'm moving more toward the blues right now, which is a little out of my wheelhouse.
Typical selection palette.
It's weird. I'm sitting here looking at myself on the computer. Okay. All right. Finished object number 1.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Seamed up in the back.
Oh, how'd you like the seaming?
It's good. You had to line up the mohair, and again, kind of hard to grab. I don't know if you can see but you can see my seam in there. Yeah.
So. But if somebody's looking at it that closely,
yeah,
then
all right,
perhaps the topic should change.
Delphia is off.
Oh, Delphia is off.
It's a crescent shaped shawl pattern by D. O'Keefe. It measures 76 inches long, 20 inches or 22 inches deep. I use Life in the Long Grass. This was some yarn my husband bought me. You guys, a beginning knitter, this would rock for a beginning shawl. Just some simple garter with some stockinette, color changes, and then a very simple lace pattern. But that just turned out really.
That is very pretty.
I had lots of yarn left of the white, not too much of the purple. I made 1 modification. She called for a picot bind off. And to me, picot bind offs are too peaky, spiky. So I love Michelle Hunter's picot bind off alternative called the Channel Island bind off. And so I just went to her video and watched her step by step do it. And then I did it. So you'll see it's not quite,
Mhm.
it's not as the points that you get with picots. Yeah. So I'm gonna have
Oh,
enough left of the white to do something with.
absolutely.
Maybe include it in a hat or something for a stripe. So again, this is a paid for pattern on Ravelry by Dee O'Keefe. It was my first pattern for her. So I do meet one of my goals this year. I wanted to do 6 shawls, 2 of them being new to me designers. So this was my second one. I'm trying to think off the top of my head what my first one was. I've got
Was
a
it
lot.
Petras? Breakstones?
That was a cowl.
Oh, Cowl. Okay.
I'd have to think about it. I've got a live stitch at the end that I didn't catch. Oof. All right. So I like it. Again, great for beginning knitters or just somebody wanting a little bit of a challenge and a beautiful crescent shape. I called the pattern 2 on the frugalometer and I gave the yarn a 3 on the frugalometer. Life in the Long Grass. I love that yarn. So if you get an opportunity to knit with it, my husband bought it for me at Simply Sock in Fort Wayne, Indiana. All right, that is what is off my needle. So what are we doing next? What is new?
What are
at
you
Frivolous?
learning?
Oh, you can go first. I have to think.
Oh, okay. Well, I can always prompt you if you forget. I am learning read, read, read. Now, those of you who know me know that I was a reading teacher, right? So I think it's important for us to read words, and that's very important when you're knitting because patterns are written with words. And if we're not attentive, we miss those words, right? So it's important to read the words in a pattern and not make assumptions, right? And read with detail. Secondly, it is very important to be able to read your knitting. And I think that is a skill that maybe perhaps we don't emphasize enough, Dawn. I know you and I talk about it, but I'm not so sure in the knitting community that it's emphasized that as you begin to knit and learn to knit, it's important to read your knitting. Why? Because it allows you to identify errors. It allows you to think back and problem solve to fix those errors. And it kind of gives you an idea of the construction of the fabric that you're knitting. So I think it's important to read your knitting. I also think it's important to read the fabric. And by that, I mean being able to look at your fabric and see beyond color. Look at the texture, look at the heft, look at the body, look at how it is handling the pattern that you're knitting with. And I kind of underlie that with make sure if you need reading glasses, you wear your reading glasses, because twice in the last 2 weeks, I have gone to read either my pattern or my fabric without my glasses on. So for those of you who watched episode 69, you'll notice that this shawl was on episode 69 and I put it on Opal with my glasses off. I don't like to wear my glasses. I'd like to give my eyes a break. So I took my glasses off that morning, wrapped it around Opal, and it was inside out for the entire episode. So had I have had my glasses on, I could have seen more clearly that she was sporting an inside out wrap. And then I was looking at my pattern today or earlier this week for Tenacity and realized that I must not have been wearing my knitting or my reading glasses when I read it because I misread what I'm going to do at the end. And I thought, oh my goodness, because if I read with my computer glasses, I don't see as clearly. And if I read with my reading glasses, I see much more clearly. So for those of you who need additional supports when it comes to reading, I encourage you to have the proper glasses on when doing so. Otherwise, you might have mishaps like I've had mishaps. So that's all I've learned.
I did not know it was inside out till we talked after the last episode. So.
Oh, well, because I put my glasses on and at one point I looked and I thought, Oh my knitting needles. How did I do that? Well, when you're not putting it on with your glasses, you can't see.
Oh, my knitting needles. That's funny. Oh.
Anyway, it's nothing profound, but really it does matter because I just have to share with you. Somebody sent me a text this week asking help with their student when it came to spelling. And she sent me these spelling words and she said, the spelling book says that these are all one syllable words, and none of them were one syllable. All of them were multisyllabic, because I know you like that word.
I do love that
And
word.
so I thought, well, what's going on? And it wasn't 2 minutes later, she sent a text back and she goes, never mind, I misread it. It wasn't saying one syllable. It said open syllables. And so an open syllable ends in a long vowel. And I thought it happens everywhere. If you don't slow down and read, the brain, it needs to be attentive so it knows the correct word. So, and especially in cables, Dawn, that'll be important as we knit that blanket.
Right.
If we're cabling to the left or to the right. So anyway, that's it.
That is important. And when you were talking about slow down, I was chatting with a friend this week, and she is just getting ready to finish Glymer. And she's on her last repeat. Glymer is a shawl by Jennifer Wiseman. She is making so many mistakes on her last repeat, so then she has to frog back. She said, why am I in such a hurry to finish this? I'm just going to slow down and enjoy the process. And isn't
Bravo.
that so true? Yeah, we always say it's not a race, but it's the journey for me. If you like the pattern, you like the yarn, enjoy it so that, you know, enjoy it. So what I'm learning is really profound. Okay, what does knitting and the sound of music have in common? I know my brain instantly goes to Captain Von Trapp. That's then I think of Julie Andrews singing at the top of a mountain. That's
yes.
But she sings that song. These are a few of my favorite things.
Yes, raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens.
Now, if I sang, our viewership would be cut in half.
Well, and if I did, we'd be down to 0.
Back to where we started. All that work to get to 2000. And then we sang. But I just think sometimes you just stand back and you think, what have you surrounded yourself with? So in the knitting world, I definitely am surrounded by different knitting communities, either virtual or face-to-face. And I've been teaching a couple of different classes. I love the people in those classes, the people who come to open knitting. I love the projects I'm on. I love the yarn that I've picked. I just think when you hit that perfect trifecta, you know, we've talked about like the trifecta for a perfect object, right color, right yarn, right pattern. I think you can extend that to the knitting world. I'm learning from new knitters. I'm learning from people who knit differently than I do. I have a couple of students right now who are left-handed knitters. So that's been a great challenge for me. I love the fact that these new knitters are learning different designers. I learned about different podcasts. I don't know. I just think that when that comes together, the thing you love, the community that you love, and the time that we spend together, those right now are a few of my favorite things.
Oh,
I know. And whiskers on kittens.
beautifully said.
My cat bit me this week, so I don't like whiskers on kittens.
Well, it might have something to do with your poor cat's name, Weasel.
Yeah, maybe. Weasel.
For heaven's sakes. She is not getting over that anytime soon.
No, she is not. But anyway, sorry, that was a squirrel. All right. So what is new, or what is going on at Frivolous and Frugal?
Oh, well, we are so excited. We finally hit 2,000 subscribers. Thank you very much. Yes, please, Dawn, there are your cheerleading days. Give it up. Okay, go for it. We are so grateful to all of you for your subscription. And we realize that we are tiny in the big pond, but in our little pond, this is absolutely wonderful. And we're tickled. And as promised, we have some giveaways. Now, here's what we have decided to do, because one of us is frivolous and one of us is frugal. And my dear sister, who is frivolous, managed to find a way in her heart to agree with me. We've decided we're going to give away one gift for each 1,000, because as it grows, the giveaways are going to get larger and larger and larger. So Dawn, we randomly chose our winners for our 2,000 subscribers from our YouTube thread. And the first winner you chose was Naughty Yarnies. And I believe this is a podcast. And the question that she replied to was, what is your favorite knitting technique and why? And she likes slip stitches for all the wonderful things you can do with those and how they can really add depth and texture and really visual intrigue to your projects. The other thing that caught both of us and caused us to laugh is she was watching our episode at the gym and laughing out loud. So Naughty Yarnies, I think you will fit just perfectly in our fiber family. So Dawn, tell her what she's won, please.
All right. So you get this pattern by Melanie Berg, Rock My Shawl, and the yarn that goes with it. And again, I'm horrible at, so it's the yarn used in the pattern. It is Baah
I think so.
by Pasquale. I think this is a German yarn as well that Melanie Berg helps them with their color choices. So the colors are these grays, imagine this, grays, purples, and pinks. So you'll get the pattern and all the yarn. And if you would send me a mailing address, I will get these out to you. I would say quickly, but that's a relative term. So, yeah, there's the grays each need 2 skeins. And then the purple and the pink are the punch of color. So again, send that to me. Contact information is always down below in the show notes or on our Ravelry page for our show notes.
Congratulations. And our second winner for our 2,000 subscribers is Amanda Vaughn. Miss Amanda, thank you so much for being a part of our discussion. She was talking in her post about the joy of missing out, or JOMO. And so she and I are in a similar season right now, and I appreciate that. Miss Amanda, your favorite technique was mosaic, and that is on my list to try. So thanks for sharing that with us. Dawn, what has Miss Amanda won?
Well, how about this for a chunky yarn?
Ooh.
Marble chunky yarn by James C. Brett, 800 grams. So there'll be four of these big skeins. This is an acrylic yarn. It was purchased to do the Weekender and just never happened. So if that interests you, I think this would be a great, I don't know, it could be a great anything. So again, if you would, oh, and you know what? A project bag.
Oh, yes,
Bring
she
that down
wants
with
a
me.
project
Yes,
bag.
you get a nice project bag. And if you want to pick out a pattern, let me know too, and I gladly gift that. So marble chunky, 200 grams, a hank or skein or whatever these are called. And there's 4 of them. And thank you to the person who donated this to us for the giveaway.
Yes.
She was going to, I tell you, she was going to do the Weekender, but she was too anxious to get started. So didn't wait for this to come in.
I know she's got to be a friend of yours.
I like the way she thinks. So
Well,
very
thank you.
good.
Yes, thank you, everyone. We are just tickled. And we also appreciate those of you who sent out well wishes as well as good constructive criticism. So don't ever hesitate in either of those areas.
Absolutely.
Our next giveaway is from the thread. We posed a question in our last episode. What is your favorite knitting technique and or stitches and why? And Dawn, our random number generator, selected Miss Adela. Miss Adela is from the Republic of Czech. She is just a sweetie, often attends our virtual events, and we're so glad you won. So please contact Dawn because your prize is a Ravelry pattern of your choice, not to exceed $10. So thanks so much for joining in on the conversation. And do you know what her favorite technique was, Dawn? Grafting the toe of a sock. It's like magic.
I know.
Isn't that true? So Miss Adela, congratulations. Now we will not have another YouTube giveaway until episode 74. However, that doesn't mean you still can't pose questions to us in the YouTube threads. Dawn and I try to read them and do our very best to respond. So if you have a question or a comment, drop it in the discussion and we will get to you as quickly as time allows. So thanks so much. All right, we do have a couple of KALS going on here in Frivolous and Frugal. The big one that transitioned on the 1st of September is our Vertices Unite KAL transitioned to our West Along KAL. So you are invited to join us, choose any Stephen West pattern you'd like and jump in. We're going to keep that as ongoing for some time, and we'll randomly give gifts and choose those during one of our Knitting with the Aunties. Yes, yes. Please, the woman with her hand raised.
Thank you. I see that hand. I came up with a hashtag. Are you ready?
Oh, wait a minute. I got to get my pencil. Okay.
So hashtag my dear Stephen West Along. Oh, and whips are allowed. Whips are allowed. We really have very loose rules. And Tuesday nights on Zoom, we do a virtual knit along for any of our knit alongs or whatever we're doing. So that is a post in Ravelry as a discussion board, and you are welcome to join us. And is it 6? It starts at 6 Central Time. Yeah, 6 Central Time, 6 to 8-ish. Or last week, 9:30-ish.
Oh my goodness.
I know, I couldn't believe it at the time. We just kept chatting. So yes, I will introduce that hashtag for anybody who wants to put it on Instagram.
All right.
I have to do a better job at monitoring Instagram. So.
No. Monitoring, yes, but perusing, no, because you tend to buy when you peruse.
Oh,
anyway.
That's a fair warning for Tuesday nights. A lot of enabling.
Oh,
I know. Yeah.
So it's a like-minded group, I would say.
It is.
Okay. Well, we have 2 other ongoing knit-alongs for you. Hat of the month, and our September hat is After the Frost Beret by Melanie Berg. So if you're interested, please, if you knit it, post a picture. And by the way, if you go to that thread on Ravelry, right at the top, you'll see all of our previous patterns. So feel free to just jump in and knit whatever one you really find yourself attracted to. And then our September ornament knit along is Christmas Baubles by Claire Slade. So again, that thread has all of the previous patterns, and you're welcome to knit those and post it anytime. We hope to have some giveaways probably during our next episode for those knit alongs. All right, I believe those are our only current knit alongs. Would you agree, Dawn? Or have I forgotten one?
Absolutely, no, those are it.
Okay, and that leads us to a couple of announcements. We have our virtual knit togethers. So the month of September's daytime knit together is going to be Saturday, September 25th from 10 to 12 Central Standard Time. Keep in mind that our knit alongs are 2 hours of nothing but knitting, chats, encouragements, sharing. We invite you to choose your own level of participation. You can just sit back and listen. We also encourage you to share what's on or off your needles at your own level of comfort. So please, if you don't have anything to do on that morning, join us. We post the link about an hour before the event. so that we can help with technical difficulties. And then once it hits 10 o'clock, usually right on the nose, the knit along or the knit together begins. If you are not in Ravelry and you would like me to email you the link, just email me at my email address down below in our show notes. Our October virtual knit night, which happens on the second Saturday of the month, will be canceled for the month of October. We will resume our evening knit-alongs in November. And I believe those are our only events, Dawn.
Yeah.
Other than your Tuesday evenings from 6 to 8.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's right. Oh, did we mention finish, fix, flip, or frog?
No, we didn't. Thank you. That's an ongoing,
Yeah.
that's an ongoing Cal. Did you want to say something about it?
Well, I just think all of those people are posting, like if you get a chance to go into the Stephen West one, like 2 or 3 people are knitting that dust land.
Mm-hmm.
The pictures are amazing. People are finishing Vertices Unite. People are starting to post pictures if they're going to do the mystery knit along. Very inspirational. But finish, fix, flip, or frog, I am amazed at what our viewers are knitting. Everything from hats to sweaters to socks. I don't know. It's just amazing. I say this probably every time. The talent is mind-boggling, but also the honesty. People don't hesitate to ask for opinions. We did start a discussion board too, just of cowl patterns. So feel free. People have been jumping in there, just putting some of their favorite cowl patterns. Oh yeah, speaking of that, Martina Boehm came out with one this week. Might be up there on the old inspiration board. Wow, we got to talk. Yeah. Okay. It's called the Quadra. Yeah, maybe we'll talk about it at the virtual night tonight, because I do believe I got a message about wanting to do it. Somebody wanting.
So you are being enabled.
Yes, I am.
So you and this person must be a bit codependent upon one another.
Well, maybe.
I don't want to do too much psychoanalysis here, so I'll move on. Okay, we'll do that. And thanks for catching my oversight there, sis. That giveaway for the finish, fix, or frog cowl will be during episode 72. Again, a random drawing. That leads us really, Dawn, to our honorable mention. And I believe you have a shout out for some people, don't you?
Yes. Part of the Tuesday night, we're meeting people that are new to me. Let me show you the logo. Miss Lynn has joined us. I don't know if you can see that. She has a company. She's an indie dyer called Chicken Lady Fiber Arts. So on Zoom, when you're on a Zoom and your name shows up down below. The first night she joined us, it said Chicken Lady. And I thought, oh, do I ask? Don't I ask? Do I ask? Don't I ask? She probably has chickens, right? But then she told us that it was part of her company name. Look what she sent for us, Penny. She has these little like tasting boxes. So this is one of her colorways called Hazy Purple. And then it correlates with what each of the bases are. So you can feel them and look at them and see what the same color looks like on all of her different bases. Is that not amazing?
That is amazing. Thank you so much for your generosity.
Yes. And then she also sent some little, do they call these pigtails? But just a little bit on some of her different bases. Look at this color. This is in her sock base. I think it's an 80-20.
Keep it away from me.
Well-worn jeans. So here's what else is funny. She has colorways or collections based on like music from the 80s, or she's got a whole section of, or a whole collection with all the characters from the game Clue.
Oh, how fun.
Western Colorado. I believe both her and her husband are veterans. Just a lovely
service.
Lovely lady. So we will put her link up if you want to, if you're out looking for something, just take a peruse by her website. So my other honorable mention are the people we're meeting on Tuesday nights are again new to me. We had a gentleman join us who I had the opportunity to meet last Saturday. So I'm teaching at Silver Thimble. in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And I'm teaching beginner knitters. And you know how I say that mamas have eyes in the back of their head? I kind of have ears that kind of antenna. So I'm teaching basic knitting, and I hear a male voice say Stephen West. So, you turn on, do, 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 do. And he is a gentleman from Green Bay who is a knitter, fairly new, just started knitting before COVID, and he wants to do the Mystery Knit Along by Stephen West. And so we got chatting and had such a great time. His name is James. He joined us Tuesday night. Now, if you're looking for to share a little bit of podcast love, James has a podcast. It has 3 episodes. And he is just learning the whole podcasting world. And I could not go back and watch our first episodes. I would just cringe. But he's got just that perfect attitude about, I'm just going to try this. He said he started it because his friends and family are sick of him talking about knitting. And his podcast is called Dude Knits. He has a few subscribers, but I don't know. There was just something about him that I'm thinking, welcome to our knitting community, dude. So again, his name is James, but he's just been a fun little blessing of all the people we've met on Tuesday nights. So again, you just get to know people virtually. And I just thought Lynn was so gracious to send me, her set of yarns that she's doing. And then James just brought another addition to our family that I thought was amazing. So those are my honorable mentions this week.
Very nice. Well, it's about time to close this episode, but before I do, what would Nikki say? This week, our dear sister, number 3 in the birth order, our golfing enthusiast, this wise woman, statistician, and head cheerleader, would say to us, when you have the time, use those precious moments doing something that will bring your joy and fill your heart. And you're right, sis. We should use those moments to do the things that bring us joy and fill our hearts, whether that be knitting, chatting with fellow knitters, family, friends, those we love. Doesn't matter, does it? Well, it's that time. And we are so sad to have to end episode 70, but we're so excited that 71 is just around the corner. So we're hoping that your week is a sweet twist of both the frivolous and frugal, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.